Hi, everybody. It's Marsha Casper-Cook, and we have a great show tonight. It's a love story of Brenda Perlin and Ron Buckman, and it's going to be a great show. She'll, Brenda will join us in a minute. I know her for a lot of years, and I've been watching the good times for her and the bad times, and it's been tough. She's had a lot going on, and she's going to be talking about it shortly. Her book is Accidental Gifts, and let me let her in there. Hi.
Hello there.
How are
My
you?
God, technology, it's working.
I know it's very different. It used to be. Okay, I was just talking about you, I know you for all these years already. I mean, it's a lot of years. And
Yes.
I read your book and it's so much more than I knew about you, even after all these years and everything you put out. So and I enjoyed the book very much. I know you're having trouble, going on now. And that's why I thought that, I thought this would be good for you to help others also. I know you've had some other tough years because I don't even know how many years I know you, but when you
A
wrote your
lot.
other book, it's a long time. It's long. And you don't usually put everything out about your life at all the traumas until all of this happened. Because you were more private before, but now, you went through a lot
What
and
really got me
everybody,
through it.
well, that is what was amazing because so many people were there for you, which is a good thing because you needed it, and you were honest with everybody about your emotions. And so I think I expected the book to be different, but I really liked the way it was. I think because you're hearing about Ron from him,
Yes,
you know, and we're hearing about you from you. And a lot of people have a lot of different kinds of relationships, but what I got out of it is most people never get to where the level of love that you two had, certainly after the last 2 or 3 years.
definitely.
So
Definitely.
yeah, and so and I didn't know. I think we're going to talk first about a little bit about you. Do you want to just give the people a little idea of who you are? And, I didn't even know of your illness. You never really mentioned it all these years.
Well, maybe you missed it, but yeah, I guess that was kind of what started me. I started writing because of all the drama that happened with Ron. But yeah, my first book, I talked about the transverse myelitis that left me paralyzed. And actually, when I first met Ron, I had just started going back to the gym. I had been at home for so many months. I wasn't even used to being around people. And he was just so fun and so familiar. And when I told him we started to have feelings for each other, and I told him, you know what, you should walk away from me. You should not walk, you should run. And I wrote down the name of the illness. And I
Right.
said,
Yeah.
for your own good, please, please run. And he just said, and it was so sweet the way he says, it's already too late.
Yeah.
So,
Listen,
and
he was up for the challenge. That
he
was kind of
was.
quite a challenge. And you had a long journey together. I didn't realize it was that many years.
Well, 15, right now it
It's a
feels like
lot.
a minute. I know, but it
Yeah.
feels like
Yeah.
a minute. I feel like he
Yeah.
kept always saying is that we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. And I
Right.
thought, oh my God, we're going to have plenty of time. Don't worry about it. But we really didn't have enough time. Although we got
No.
a lot done in 15 years, we really
Yes, you
went through
did.
a lot and we traveled a lot and we got to each other. And I think we both really evolved being together. So I think, a lot of my values, a lot of things changed because he was such a good influence to me. I had
Yeah.
come from a marriage. I'm not saying it was a horrible marriage. He was a good person, but it was very tough and there were no laughs. And when I met Ron, we were able to laugh together and I
Yeah.
had no more bucket list anymore. All my
Yeah.
dreams, my zest for life was gone. And when I
Yeah.
met him, all of a sudden it all came back. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
he was a blessing to me. He was my
Right.
sunshine.
Yeah. Like, I think what shocked me the most was, about everything was, I think, when I met you, your life was very different, but that must have been the time that you were going with him already
Yes.
because it's 15 years. So that's about as long as I know you. I think when I was doing Blog Talk and you had your other book out.
Right, well, yeah, and I only started really putting the book out originally, I was just going to write what if fraud the wedding business was, with my husband at the time. I just
Yeah,
thought it was
right.
such a silly business. But then when all these things went crazy with Ron and his wife, and
Yeah,
things got really dramatic, and so that's when I started writing. And kind of like with this story and with that story, the writing saved me. Had I not written, I don't know what I would have done. I might have
yeah,
jumped off a cliff. So
yeah.
the
Well,
writing, and I tell
right.
people to write whenever
Yeah,
you're going through this, whether it's just for a journal, you
yeah,
should write, get it
yeah.
out.
Yeah, I think that, I always used to tell people also, if you want to get close to a character when you're writing, write a letter or write a journal in that person's voice. Because something about writing, and I don't even mean writing on the computer. I think if you just take a pad of paper and just write your thoughts, it comes out a lot, you know. And I think you get to know yourself through a letter sometimes,
Yes.
because sometimes you don't realize what's in you until you start talking about it. And that's why people, when they write a book like this, you know, they start talking about things that they maybe hadn't thought about in all these years.
It's really true. It's
You
really
keep
true.
things, inside of you, and so I think you had a rough run of this, so where do you want to start? Do you want to start at like, well, how you met him? I mean, because that's really kind of interesting because, as you said, you just told him to run and he
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah. Well, I had been married for 15 years. We moved here. My father had passed away. I've really gone through a lot of loss, but
Yes.
not as bad as they all are. Nothing feels as bad as this, although
Well, right.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my
Yeah.
mom was pretty bad too. But when we moved here to be close to my husband's family. His mom and sister and
Yeah.
sister-in-law and brother lived here. So there was no reason for me to be in Orange County, that's for sure. So
Right.
talk about
Right.
fate. There was no reason for me to be in Orange County.
Right. Right. Right.
And when we moved here, I thought I was going to be with my husband forever. Even dissatisfied and unhappy, I
Yeah.
was going to stay with him because he loved me and he was a good person. And especially when I got sick in
Well, he took
2008, he
care of
took
you.
care of me.
Right. He
Yeah,
took
and he
care of
was a
you.
good
Right.
person. Oh my God. I mean, he would feed the dog, he'd go to work all day, then come back and make sure that I had my meal. I mean, he was just really nice.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I didn't love him the right way, and
Yeah.
it was a hard, hard life with him. It was very serious. Life was heavy, heavy,
Yeah.
heavy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
so really, originally my book was called Homewrecker because I left my husband for another man, which was Ron, and Ron was really in a bad relationship, and I didn't think I was going to leave. I told Ron from the get-go, "I'm never leaving my husband,"
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and
Well, sometimes that's how it is. I mean, sometimes people do say that. I mean, even when you're watching a movie, they go, I'm never leaving, but eventually they do. Because, when you look at happiness, I mean, life is short. It really is. It speeds by so fast. Like my grandmother used to say, she used to go, it's like a flash,
yeah,
and it is, and sometimes when you go, what happened this year? And then what happened that year? And it's just like it all goes by fast. And I think people don't even stop to think that they should enjoy it. And if they're not, they should probably do something to make themselves enjoy life because really it is short. So you were unhappy, but when you were with him, you weren't.
no, he was he reminded me of my father, which sounds a little,
It
kind of
doesn't. No,
gross.
a lot of people
But
do. No, that's
you
no.
know what? He was familiar and he was nice and fun and he was interested in me and the way he looked at me and just, it was just very powerful. And, I loved his energy, and he liked people. My husband had no interest in people. Ron
Yeah.
liked everybody and he was interested in everybody. And I love that. 'Cause my mom was pretty much like that. So I
Yeah.
like that. I like that
Yeah.
about him. He was everything probably that my husband was not.
Right.
So, I mean, I gave up all my morals, my scruples, and my better judgment because it really wasn't a smart thing to do to walk away from my marriage. I had really very little protection financially or otherwise. I mean, you
Yeah.
could have dropped me like a hot potato, and what
Yeah.
would I have
That's
done?
But
Seriously.
I think I think by the time you left, you knew already that he was not going to leave you, Ron. That
I
he was
was
not going to just, yeah,
I
he
don't
wouldn't
know,
have just left
stupid.
you.
I don't know, but people leave each other all the time, and we weren't
Well, they
together
do,
that
but
long. I was stupid, really. I really was stupid. In fact, when we went through the divorce, I refused to take, I took a very little amount of money from my husband. I didn't, and
yeah,
I could have had monthly.
alimony,
Yeah, and
alimony.
I refused to take it because I didn't want my husband to lose the house, even though the house was paid for from
Yeah,
my family, from my father when he passed away, but I didn't want him to lose the house, and I
Yeah.
also didn't like what I did because, there's better ways of doing what I did, and so I did things as to make myself feel better, and
Yeah.
as bad as I did, it's not a great thing to do what I did, but I tried to make it as,
Well, I
good
think
for
I
him.
think, reading the book, I mean, you did try. I mean, you didn't want this to happen, and in the back of, like even when, people are talking about like when they're writing, because I would do so many shows on writing, but when you're writing characters, you sometimes do the same kind of thing. You put this in a fiction though. Do you put your book in fiction, right? Why though?
Really for protection,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's kinda
Yeah.
silly though because, and this book, I used their names, where the other books I did not.
Right, right.
I'm at the point now, stupid, fearless, I don't know, I'm at the point where so many people know my story, and I've really been out there, especially since, Ron
But
had
I
a
think you
stroke.
can but what you can do is you can change the category of your book.
I know, I
Which I
know.
think you should, because you know why? Because
Yeah,
y other people are going through this a
yes.
lot, and so that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come on. I knew it was gonna be
Yeah.
difficult for you, but I wanted you to feel better yourself about yourself.
Oh, you're so kind.
Because, I mean, I've seen your posts and I, watched you all along, and I think that your story is important. I mean, because it was such a love story. I mean, and love is complicated. It's not always that easy. It doesn't always run smooth. So I think if you change your category, you can probably end up with more people reading your book and, learning from you and maybe seeing themselves in you
Oh, thank you. You know what? That's a good thing
because
to
you
say.
had the
I'm definitely
guts.
open to that. I'm open to doing that. I really
Yeah,
am.
because you're good. You're a very good talker. You may right now. Now it's a challenging time for you, but you are like from the time this happened. You're so much better now,
Thank you. You know
and
what?
I yeah
I'm trying to look for the positive. It's hard, and I'm
yeah
trying to like, I've been reading a lot of books. Actually,
yeah.
I don't even have the patience to read. I'm listening to audiobooks,
That's
and
what I do. I like audiobooks. I
yeah,
didn't realize yours. I didn't. You sent me the book, but I didn't realize it was an audiobook because I love audiobooks.
oh, you do? Oh,
No,
because
no,
that
I haven't. No, but I read it. I don't read that much. I have to admit, because I listened. Oh, I read it today. I did.
yeah.
But
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. But normally I don't. But I wanted to read it because I think
that's
this
so
is
nice.
important. And audiobooks, yeah, I like them too. But there's
Yeah,
so
it's
many
mindless.
people
And I tried to
that don't.
read, like, spiritual type books, I really
Yeah,
trying to have an open mind because I'm a skeptic, and I even
yeah.
still, I don't know that I believe everything, but, like, Jeremy Renner, he wrote that book, that is an amazing book about his journey,
His
after he had
accident when
that
yeah,
accident.
that was yeah,
Wow, what an inspiration he is. I mean,
yeah,
everybody could read it, whether they're living, dying,
yeah. Right.
healthy, whatever, like Hollywood, don't like Hollywood, his story is
Well, he
so
beat he
fierce.
beat the odds. There's no doubt about that.
He did, but he's such an inspiration because he
Yeah,
has a love for life and a strength, an inner
yeah,
strength that most of us do not have,
yeah, yeah.
Very
But
empowering.
I think people are stronger than they give themselves credit for sometimes. We all go through so much, and then you wonder how you got through it, you know? Like you said, your mom was really important to you, and so, I mean, but you never get over,
No, no,
you're
you
loving
don't.
someone and caring about them when they die. I think my mother once said to me something, and I understand it a lot now because I too have lost a lot of people, my sister, a whole bunch of people,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but she said, "Every love you have is
yes,
different."
yeah.
And you feel differently. And like you just said a few minutes ago, that this was the toughest one for you.
It was, but if you asked me at the time, I mean, with my mother,
Right. That's exactly
I
right.
was a
That's
mess. I mean, it was a mess
yes.
for years. I mean, I really blamed her for, rooting the rest of my life because I know I was a basket case for many years over the loss of my mother
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
a child, I was a 21-year-old
21, I
child.
think you said. Yeah. Yeah. You were
And
young.
I
Yeah.
was, a child because she protected me, she treated me like a child, and I
Yeah.
was her baby. So, that was a tough one, but this one's different because I'm 61 years old, I'm alone,
Yeah.
I haven't been alone in over 30 years. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
older, so the possibilities are not what they were when I was, 21 years old and had the whole world ahead of her. I'm at a point where I should be with my honey and we should be
Yeah.
enjoying the rest of our life together, so I it's a tough place to be, and I'm trying to be okay with being
But
on
that's
my
what I said,
own.
like what I said at the beginning, because, anybody that's been watching you on Facebook and following your life, with your vacations and the fun you had,
Yes,
some
yes,
people never get that. So,
no, no,
for you, you've had all those years, and so those are the good memories. Some people don't have any
right,
good
you're right.
memories, and so your first husband, you didn't have those good memories,
No.
but with Ron, you did.
I
So
know, we're
that's a
so
good
blessed,
thing.
and we went everywhere, we traveled everywhere, but
Yes,
even
you did.
I even like even when we just went to lunch, and we went to lunch almost every day, and every day I
Yeah,
look forward to it, we just had a certain something, it was just
right,
easy, and so,
right.
I miss that, and, but yes, I'm very lucky, and yeah, for me to complain, sometimes I feel shame on me
It's not,
because
no,
I
I
am.
think it's gonna take you a while, though. It's not really complaining, it's just talking. I mean, you're not complaining, but you're sad. I mean, so I think that's one of the things that's why I hope that you change the category of your book, because I think you know, as long as you said everything you said,
Yeah,
the whole truth is in there, so why not change it to nonfiction, because it can help. There's everything is true in there, I would assume. It's not
yeah,
your
no, there's
life.
no there's no,
Right.
there's no, deviations on there
Right.
at
So,
all.
I mean, that's what I would say, because you're cutting off a whole audience that would probably like to read your book and see how you handled certain things.
You
People
know
have
what? I'm
affairs all the
definitely
time.
going to look into
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I already did the copyright thing, so hopefully I won't have an issue with that.
No, I don't think you will, because you're just changing the category,
Oh,
not the story. I think
okay.
once you do the copyright, it's there, the book. Whatever, this is just a marketing thing that people
Yeah.
will see your book, because I think you're cutting out a lot of people that could look. A lot of people have affairs. I mean, that just happens. It's just how life is. We're all, people are not perfect. So, but you did the best you could, what you had to do to get to a place where you were happy.
Thank you. And
So
and
I
by
think
reading
that
the book, Ron was very flawed. I mean, I have a picture of him and I'm looking at him. I'm sorry, honey. He was very flawed, but he was also wonderful. He had some issues, but you know what?
well,
He was a good
everybody has
person.
issues. It depends on what they are. And you take one person, and then you've realized that a lot of people have secrets. A lot of people don't ever express really how they feel. I mean, there's so many different, descriptions of how people really are. So I mean, but at the end of the day, that's what counts.
Yeah, you're right. You're
When
right.
you look at all, because when you look at a person, you look at the whole person, not just like 1 month or 2 months, or maybe they had a couple bad days, or they did something that wasn't great, but then they do other things that are good. I mean, he did a lot for you. And so I think now you're in the place where you can recover and
Yes.
make it and feel better.
Yes.
A few months ago, I know it looked like it was never going to happen, but even coming on the show, you are better. That's the thing. You're
Thank
ready
you.
now to move
Thank
on
you.
and still love him. You don't have to. Yeah, that's one of the things. Even if people are, there's a lot of people that are married 2 and 3 and 4 times, and each love that they have is different, and maybe they put it away aside of how they felt, and they have to just start again.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because happiness really is, listen, it's a tough world. There's a lot that's happening now, but I think when you find love and when you have a happy life, or if you donate your time or things people do, you can get over some of the trauma that we all have had to go through. So I think that's where you are now. Are you here,
Yeah, I think
Brenda?
so. I'm finding
Yeah. Oh,
ways like,
yeah.
what is my
Yeah.
purpose now? How can I give back? How can I do things? How can I do things to do?
Okay. Like, I wanted to ask you now about something that,
I'm
there's a
at the
lot of
point because you
people
know
out
what?
there.
I'm
You see,
I'm getting to I'm getting older. Pardon? Can
well,
you
you're
hear
not
me?
that old. Yes, am. You're not old. Forget
Well,
that. That's not about that. But, I wanted to talk about the part,
still
there's a
pretty
lot of
young. I'm
people
going
out
a
there that
little.
are
I want to do something that is important. I want to
right.
do things that are better because there's so much bad stuff going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And I want to do better. I think that's the only way that we can make this okay is to be a good person,
Yeah.
to help
Okay.
others and find ways to actually do that, And so
Right.
I have to really find my with Ron, he was very charitable and he was very kind. There's some people that he really looked out for.
Yeah,
He was able to do that. He had the financial ability to do a lot of really good things in his
yeah,
life, and it's rewarding. Those are the things that are important though, not, not all the stuff, not all the,
yeah,
me, but actually making someone else happy and doing good things, I think
right,
is a good thing to focus on.
right.
So,
Well, right, and, there are a lot of people that are out there that have sick partners, or they're fighting cancer themselves. So I think you you went through on Facebook, like a report to everybody because people wanted to know how it was going.
yeah.
So, and I think that, what would you like to tell people about going through something? I've had that with my sister. It was not easy, to go
No,
through this.
no.
So what do you like to tell people? How did you manage to try to get him through this? Because he had a stroke first and
The
then he had
stroke
cancer.
and you know what? We were already sharing everything on Facebook pretty much
Yes.
before the
Yes.
stroke, and so people kind of felt like they knew him, and he became a little
Yeah.
bit of a show off, he liked
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He felt famous, he was cute, and so
Well,
he
that
liked
is cute
it.
because you know what? Because people, I read a lot of, and people were
Yeah,
there because you were honest with them, you were open, you said the good and the bad, and listen, it is a hard journey, especially first having the stroke, and then when he's getting better, he's had all this rehab, and he's actually starting to feel better. Then
yes.
you get this,
Yeah, it was
notice.
really, out of control. Yeah, the stroke was pretty bad, and the thing I do think about and I'm grateful for, many people do not come out of a stroke like he came
No,
out of,
right,
the blood
right,
clot would have gone to his brain and that would have been it. So we did get a second chance,
yes,
we did get a couple of years
in
that we
between, yeah,
probably wouldn't have I never would have really been able to say goodbye to him, that night that they were
right,
gonna do that procedure on him, that could have been it. So
right, right,
we had a lot of laughs, a lot of good times in between even the suffering of the stroke and the rehabilitation,
right,
we had a lot of good times. So that to me is one of the biggest blessings.
yeah,
Um, and you always go back, and I think anybody that's been with someone that's gets ill, you always think, "Woulda, coulda, shoulda. If I did this differently,
yeah,
maybe this wouldn't have happened." Like if I didn't do this, if I did that, and there were plenty of things that I can blame myself for. I could blame him too, especially with the stroke and all the cruises and the eating and the drinking and just too much. So I don't know, but maybe it was just, fate. Maybe that was just his fate.
well,
Maybe
sometimes,
that's
well,
all he
I
learned.
think you said he had
He had
AFib?
AFib and he had that cardiomyopathy.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna
but
do so he had 2 different conflicting things that made it
yeah,
hard. But, we
yeah,
got through that, and he planned to live to be 90 something like his parents. He had very
right.
high hopes to live a nice
Yes, right,
long life.
yeah. So, like, after he had the stroke, when he was feeling better, how did they find out? You can tell people what happened that he got cancer after that. It was
Yeah, it was
how was
bizarre. He was starting to get his appetite wasn't good, and I couldn't differentiate the issues
yeah,
between the stroke because he was still
yeah,
kind of fragile from the stroke. You were going to
yeah,
chiropractors and doctor's appointments.
yeah,
So between the losing weight and maybe not eating as much, that was
yeah,
kind of weird. And we were just in Santa Fe in November. When we got home, he wasn't feeling good. We thought he had a little cold. And we went to the doctor, and that's when things started to go bad, bad, bad to worse. I mean, we went
yeah,
from, well, something his numbers aren't looking good, blah, 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 to
yeah,
within weeks, we found out that it's not just cancer, but it's kind of one of the worst cancers, which is pancreatic cancer. How,
yeah,
I want to say, how the hell? I want to say, what the fuck? Why the hell did he
yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
pancreatic cancer?
It's
So
a very tough cancer. I know my aunt had that. Yeah,
yeah, it's bad. It's
it's
bad.
tough.
So it's really and he didn't have cancer in his family, and I know that means nothing because, there's so many other things that could have happened.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like a lot of times now, when you go to the doctor, they ask you everything that your family had, what they had. And, there's a lot of people that have gotten breast cancer that there's nobody in the family that had
Right,
breast cancer.
right.
So I think, I mean, we all, sometimes they say, do you want to do all this genetic testing? And sometimes you don't really want to know what you might get, because
Yeah,
we don't know. Nobody knows what's inside of us. I mean, I worked in medicine for 25 years. There's no way. You don't know. We don't know. what's in store for us.
Right.
So that's why people have to just live their life. And you
Yeah.
can't be, you go to the doctor, you get your checkups, and you try to live your life the best you can. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of people that might not eat right, or they drink too much, or they smoke too much, but there are some people that smoke a lot and nothing even happens to their lungs.
Right.
Nothing.
There's no not always rhyme or reason to it.
No, there
It's
isn't. So I
true.
think that's one of the things, you know, you can't always look back. I know when I was a kid, my mother, if you got a cold, she'd like to try to look at what did you do? What happened?
Yeah, yeah.
Was your hair wet? Was this happening? You
Right.
know, and you can't, you just don't know what happens. You just
No.
have to go with it. And so together you went with it and you added on, I think, a lot from the book, right? I mean, when did it finish? When did he finish his part of the
Well,
book?
he did. We the book was originally Fractured Vows, which had been out for several years. And the only reason why I picked the book back up is because I never really felt 100% with it. And
Yeah.
when he had just died, I only did like a week of it. When he died, that first week, I really needed to do something. So all my little parts, like
Yeah.
are just from that week of his death. I felt that it was really important for me to write. And, I thought, his story needed to be perked up a little bit from the original book. I took out a lot of like lawyer things and financial things that really
Yeah.
didn't move the story along. And
Right, right, right.
because
That's right.
the original story we wrote, we were on a cruise together, and really most of it was verbatim. And he was really good. I'd say,
Yeah.
he was talking. I'd say, "Slow down. I'm
Like
not
his
a
whole life, right?
secretary."
He had his whole. I mean, he didn't forget a thing. Probably it was all in
No,
there.
he was
You know.
he was very clear. He was very cool. We had a lot of fun with his story. And yeah, so, it was nice to get it out there. In fact, at some point, his dad was alive that he was helping me edit, which was adorable. I had this like
Yeah,
90-year-old man helping me edit and reading
yeah,
all these like,
yeah,
outlandish stories and
yeah.
stuff. But yeah, it was really sweet.
Mm.
Really, really nice.
Like when you say that, you were different. So do you want to elaborate a little on that? I mean, because you look at everybody thinks, there's opposites attract. There's no doubt about that. And none of us are like partners. We're different. You know, so what made you so different?
Well,
Uh,
I had a punk rock background. I've always been
yes,
kind of a little
I
quirky,
know.
very quirky, alternative. He was
Yeah,
Mr. Conservative,
yeah,
kind of conservative, although you didn't see after he got those tattoos, he didn't look so conservative. But he had a conservative upbringing. He kind of like followed the route like everybody else, and
yeah,
had a good job, was very successful.
yeah,
I was just more. I was not in with the in crowd. We were just totally different people. I mean, he was very social. He had a totally different life than I did,
yeah,
I mean, he had a very fancy life, and he had a very, like I said, if you met me earlier, there's no way you would have
yeah,
given me a second thought, and vice versa. He would not, I would have been so turned off by the cars and the flash and the this
yeah.
and the that. It would have grossed me out. That was never my, like when
On
people
your
used to say,
agenda, right? That
marry
wasn't
a
you.
rich man, or
Yeah,
that
some
was
people,
not
that's
my
their
interest.
agenda, right? That's
I
their
I had
agenda.
no agenda, so, people calling me a gold digger was kind of funny because that was, I
Yeah,
had when I was younger, I had the opportunity, but that wasn't what I went for. That was not my interest. But we were
right.
very different. But you know what? I think as human to human, we were
Yeah,
very similar. We love people and compassionate and caring, and I think those are the elements that really bring people together. And I think that's what did it for us. So yeah, we
right.
were definitely not a conventional couple. We were kind of strange, but you know what? He was very, very accepting of like going to shows with me and very proud of whatever
Yeah,
happened with the punk books and the different things. He was real like you could see he'd look at me with pride, which was very sweet, so
right,
cute.
right. And sometimes it's not bad to like learn from the person you're with different things. You can't be the same person. So it's good that,
No,
and also when you're a little older, you you think differently, than you do when and especially if both of you didn't have great marriages. So
right.
I think when you find somebody and you're on a journey together to be happy, I think, and you didn't have as much happiness as you would have liked, it makes you even happier to do things because a lot of people don't make the break. They just stay.
They do. They
and then
do, and
they're eh,
I think his first marriage was good until it wasn't, I don't know
right.
that we all need to be together for the rest of our lives. It just depends on, the person, but, I'm sure his marriage in the beginning was very good, but, things change. You have children, that changes things
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
so
And he met you, and I think what he found in you was a different person that he never knew he probably would have loved before. But he was probably so happy because you could see in all your pictures and everything that you showed online, and the happiness that you shared on all your trips,
yeah,
and
yeah, we
yeah,
we really had a lot of laughs, a lot of joy, and I think that,
yeah.
yeah, joy is what comes
Joy
to
is a
mind.
good thing.
Yeah.
Joy is yeah. Joy is a very good thing. And I think people don't realize they don't have joy until they have it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't realize maybe what you're missing, you don't know
Yes.
because life is so hard and there's
Yeah.
so many serious things. I mean, just like nonsense, like I'm dealing with just stupid things, whether it's bills or,
Yeah.
this or
Right.
that.
Right.
And it's just nonsense because you're trying to talk to this company and they're not helping
Well,
you
you
and this
have to
person's
though,
not
but
helping you.
those are things you have to do though.
Yeah, it's part of life, but it's
You're
just
right.
it gets so old. So just to have, a break from that and to actually have, laughs and joy, even with all that other nonsense is
Yeah.
really, really refreshing. And
And I
so,
think for him, I think, look, he probably would have got the diseases that he got anyway. So having you there for him was probably a blessing for him because even though he got the diagnosis that was bad, he had you to share it with and you were helping him.
yeah, he was never alone. He was very protected and he was very, very much appreciative. So, I felt good about that. And that's probably, what can you do? But yeah, I was
Right.
there for them like he would be there for me. So yeah, we were definitely a team and we worked as a team. So
Right. And so what would you like, everybody's looking for the right person. That's like a big thing for people, Mr. Right.
yeah.
What does that mean though? It means someone that you can share and your life with, have fun. You know, and that's what's happening. People don't know what they want sometimes. That's the
Or they're
thing.
superficial, they're stuck on
Yeah.
whether they what that they look like or their
Right.
age or, their financials, it's so much super and some things are important, but yeah, if I would have just walked away from him, God, I would have missed out on so much. And him too, I think, he might have either stayed in the marriage or I don't know, or may have
Right.
had other bad situations. So we got lucky. Sometimes things are just by chance and fate and,
Right.
and, and luck. Some people get lucky and some people don't. Some people have the best intentions and it doesn't work out. So,
Right. Because he wrote that in his book too about luck too. There was luck. It
yeah.
and when you read your book, I think it has a lot of value because you just sometimes when you meet somebody, you don't really know what happened to them before
No, and I
or what
really
kind
didn't.
of life.
And sometimes, like, he was a little bit, like, overly protective or not
Yeah,
trusting, and that all stemmed from his past, which I
yeah,
didn't always understand.
right,
A lot of it stemmed from his past, and so, yeah, you don't really know until you know all the background and, kind of their baggage.
right.
But, I do have some girls that are going through kind of what I'm going through. I have some friends, on Facebook,
Yeah,
and, they're all going through, they've lost their loves, whether it's been a few years, a couple of years, a couple of months, and they're really hurting. And we're all kind of like floundering. We're all trying to work it out. And I think the best thing we could do is to, be open to life. And I hope that they're all open to whether maybe one day they'll meet somebody else,
right,
that maybe they won't replace the love that they had, but maybe, they everybody deserves to laugh again and everybody
right.
deserves to love again. I'm not saying this for me personally because I don't really see it necessarily, but I
Well,
think,
you don't know. That's how life is. You don't know what's in store. You
you
just
don't
don't.
know. But I think what you really when you have this kind of loss, you realize how
Yes,
important love is and how that
yes,
connection is so valuable. And, I do know a lot of people that are in relationships and they're not so happy and they're not
yeah.
really appreciating. And that breaks my heart too, because why do you want to live life when you're with someone that doesn't make you happy, you
Well,
know?
that's the thing. That's the thing because even if you get like a couple years. out of it, out of a better life with someone you care for, that's a couple years. I'm not saying your position, but I'm saying, like, I used to have lunch with my mother and my sister and a lot of people, like, on Saturday afternoon. We all, and my aunt's friends, they were all older than me, not my sister, but they were all older than me, and most of them were widows. And we talked about things, and I enjoyed it because they were a lot older, but I liked to hear what they had to say. And they did say after they became a widow, they made a mistake because they all said, "No, I don't want to be with anybody else." But when they were older, they thought maybe they should have just have gone out and have a good time and just, shared some fun with, another person. That was their one thing. It wasn't about just getting married. It was about sharing a life with someone else and being open to it. But all of them said that.
Oh, that's something. That's really
Yeah,
something.
right.
I
And
do think,
because, right, they just, at the time, they just didn't think about that they should. Some of them had, there's some of the people that they were with were sick or they're married to, but so they let, like, many years of their life alone when, and they knew it though. They knew at the
yeah,
end that would be
yeah.
their advice. And so that's the thing. If people are listening, however old you are, doesn't even matter your age. If you let yourself at least talk to someone, maybe go on a date, maybe go to a show. Just don't say no all the time because you just don't know if you can find someone that maybe you can just talk to. Don't leave yourself
Yeah.
alone. So I would think that would be a good thing if people could try to help themselves and not just close the door on anything,
I agree. I
you
really
know.
do. I think it's nice to have companionship and it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be, and you
yeah,
shouldn't definitely shouldn't have to settle, but I think
right,
if you find, and it doesn't even have to be a relationship. I think, at this point, you find people that you like, whether it's a male or female, just people that are,
right, right.
you want to cheer the people in your life.
Yeah.
You want to appreciate the people in your life and have them.
So I
Because,
think you
like when I was
probably
with Ron,
you probably learned that from him now, and I think your life will be different when you feel better. Because you've learned things from him because you said he had a lot of friends.
well, he had friends, but you know what? We were very exclusive, meaning we were together almost all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So it was really like now, I mean, I'm not even, I'm used to either being with his people or with him. So
yeah,
it's really a switch. And and some of my people have passed
yeah, that's what happens in life, I know. But I think, that's what
really
I'm telling
dear
you.
to
I
me
think with your
are not here either. As you know, when you
yeah,
get older, that's a whole nother topic.
well, you're not really that old. So, I mean, I think that, like now when you start feeling a little better, like you said, you're going to write, maybe you'll find something in that for you. But, I think also, in my opinion of, knowing and seeing what's happening, reading your book, I think you might be very good going to groups and talking to people, and all of you would probably share in one idea of how love was, but now how life goes on. So I think you'd be good at that, and I think that would help you,
Hmm.
and that's what the book is for. So, tell everybody, like, where they can get the book and, so they know how to, and I'll put you don't have a website though, right?
I do have a website.
Oh, you do have
But
one.
it's
Okay.
not, you know what, my website's punk, everything's punk, so no, I used to
All right.
have a
Okay. All right.
website for
So,
the other, so
just, all
yeah,
right. It's on Amazon.
it is
Is it
Amazon, so yeah, you
everywhere
go to
else or just Amazon?
I don't know, maybe it is, I don't know. I don't
Right.
know,
I'll
but
check it.
Amazon's a sure thing, yeah, I
Right,
know
I will
Amazon.
check it out for you.
Oh,
I'll
thank
talk to you
you,
about that later, where you put your book so people
thank
can see it. And we could talk about that another time because I think it's a book that people would enjoy reading. I mean, it's a really good title, Accidental Gifts. Who decided on the title?
That was because Ron had said that when we were speaking, when we were doing his lines, one of the thing that he said was, "I was an accidental gift."
Yeah.
And so that's how we got there, but I don't know,
Or
I
the
don't
pi-
always remember
yeah.
the title. I don't love the title because I can't always remember what the name, like, what's the name of the book? I don't know.
No, I think it's good. Well, just think of it as he was a gift to you that you
Yes,
weren't supposed to have. So
yeah,
now it's an accidental gift.
yeah, definitely.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about for somebody, or is there, something
Um
you want to say?
No, I want to thank everybody for the support that they've given me. I've gotten a tremendous amount of support from people.
Which is so nice. I mean, that they did that,
You
for you.
don't expect that, but people have come up to me, like, I went to the Fullerton Punk Museum, and I had people coming up to me, not talking about my books or the punk. They're saying, I'm really sorry for your loss," and I thought
Yeah,
that very, very, very sweet. I'm really touched, and the fact that people have patience with me because sometimes my posts are downer, especially in the last several months, I've really been a downer, and the fact that people still come around and tolerate it and read them and comment or try to cheer me up, it's really, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm so touched by all the people that, some I've never met, some I have met, and
yeah,
just really the support. So I think, and also too, when I was going through this stuff with Ron's stroke, it was helpful not just to me, but for him because some people were giving me suggestions. So sometimes being too private is not good because when I would
right.
post things, people would give me suggestions that were really helpful. So, and I guess now I'm getting suggestions on how to move on with my life. And I am going to a bereavement group starting October 8th, I think it
Oh,
is.
that'd be
So,
good, yeah.
I'm trying to do things that will be helpful.
Well,
Um,
I'm so happy you came on today because I think that, I think this will be a turning point for you because I
oh,
think I
thank
can
you.
see from you that you can do this. You're gonna be able to do this,
Oh, you're so
and I'm,
encouraging.
that's why, all these years we've been, that I've seen you, I know you can do this. You've had hard times, but I think that once you get to that bereavement group and you talk to the other people, you're going to feel better because you're going to understand from them what they went through and you help each other. That's what those groups are good for. I
Yes,
feel that's
I think that's what makes the
and I
world go
think you'll have
around,
a
right?
lot to offer. You'll have a lot to offer.
No,
So don't put yourself in a
thank
category
you.
that you don't, because you do. So, okay, on that note, I know
Yeah,
I'm so happy you came on. I know this was hard for you, but I'm so happy that you did this because I wanted you to be able to come out there, like, because I know there's a lot of people that cared about you. And now they can hear you and see that you're getting better.
thank you.
And I believe you will get better. And I do think that this book will help you to go out maybe and talk. You'll see things will change for you.
No,
And I'm
thank
more than
you.
happy to help you find, to see where you can, I'm not a market. Well, I could be, but I don't do marketing. I do my own. And marketing is hard. I
Yes.
don't love it, but I think you have something to say that would help other people and
Oh,
yourself, so I so appreciate it. And so thank you
thank
all
you.
for listening. And I like these night shows, but you're in California because, like sometimes people like, for you to be on the show, if they have a morning show, it's like 7 for you. That's all early in the morning.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'm
Jeez.
not good in the morning. Definitely not good in the morning. And thank you for coming on so late for me. That was
Oh,
so
no, it's
nice.
fine. It's good. All right. So
Oh,
take care of yourself. And I'm here if you ever need me. Okay. You know
thank
that. All
you.
right. Thank you all for listening. And I'll send you the link. Okay. When it's all fixed. All
Perfect.
right.
Thank
Thank you
you
again.
so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and have a good night. Bye bye.